she forgot somebody's name, and rather than like text me over there or run out quick, just be like, I have to use the bathroom. She said that
I panicked.
There was a death in her family. She ran out. And we were concerned.
I panicked.
Welcome to Building Friendships. We are going old school with our set because we have a special Halloween month, October.
Ooh.
Halloween guest.
Spooky.
Halloween set. This is, we are on set of, do we have a title yet? The former Horror at the Store.
Yeah, the Horror at the Store. Who knows what it'll be called then? John in post will put the new title
figure it out
right here.
But we're with the host of the current iteration of Horror at the Store, comedian, writer, podcast host, actress, Katie Hettenbach.
Hello. I was also waiting for you to say my name. I was like, oh no, is he going to make me say my name?
I should have made you say your name. Yeah, we're doing some Halloween episodes. So I started one episode ago with the Hocus Pocus set, pretty Halloween.
Spooky? Yeah, that's a Halloween movie.
Yeah. So I'm going to continue this, and we have a set for you.
Yeah.
This is the the Hidden Side series. It's retired. You can't even download the app. So what you used to be able to do was build the set, and then when it was I forgot what it's called.
VR? No, like Pokemon Go.
Yeah. So the AR.
Yeah. Oh, AR. Yeah.
Augmented reality. You used to be able to hold your phone up to the Lego set, and you would see ghosts running around.
Cool.
Yeah, no, not cool. The app is dead.
Oh,
but
man.
We're gonna be doing the graveyard mystery.
That's amazing.
Seems pretty haunted.
She's filming it. She's putting it on TikTok and that shit.
So Katie is. We first met when we decided we were going to do the horror podcast. We did 30 straight episodes.
31. How dare you?
Straight episodes.
31 straight episodes.
And boy, did I regret that.
It was a treat.
It wasn't, it was a lot. We were here on Saturday mornings.
For what?
At least 3-4 weeks. We were doing 4 to 6 episodes. We were doing eight episodes.
Sometimes 8 episodes.
Yeah, we were doing 8 episodes a day.
I remember everyone being like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let's just keep going."
Yeah, just keep.
And then afterwards, the rest of the day, I would just knock out. They'd be like, "Do you want to go grab a drink after this?" I'm like, "No, I need to go to bed. I just have been talking for 8 hours straight with people about horror movies."
And we would wrap them up. I would edit them quickly, and we would just be, and we would have to release them right away. Mm-hmm. And that was before we kind of got into the groove of making clips and all that stuff. But like the way that you were able to handle all that, I was like, as soon as we had an opening for a producer role, you then became our producer at the Comedy Store at the podcast studio.
Yeah.
So that was, I guess, in January of this year.
That was January 3rd, I believe.
Really?
I think
you
so.
remember that?
I do.
Well, I guess we did.
It was a magical day.
It was a magical day in the history of comedy. So you're from Wisconsin.
Correct.
Which part?
Madison, Wisconsin, yeah.
Yeah, so basic.
But honestly, it is.
So basic.
If I was from Milwaukee, I think it would be worse. But
when did you move out here? Because you're still relatively young.
Yes, I am 25. I moved out here. It's like hazy when I actually moved because I did a study abroad, quote unquote, in Chicago.
What was her name?
Stop it. Her name was Stop It. No, but that's bad. Oh no. No, but I did a study abroad from Columbia College Chicago to come out to LA and like work in the industry. So I was here in 2020 of spring 2020. And I was out here, did an internship with Atlas Entertainment. And then, I don't know if you heard, there was a little bit of a pandemic that happened.
A what?
I know, a little pandy. And
is that when you were working as a PA, or was that after?
No, that was before. Or no, that was so that was before. So spring 2020 was doing the internship with Atlas. and then got sent home and from that because of COVID, and graduated and shit from my parents' house, and then got the call to be on Dave's season 2 as a COVID PA. And then
Oh man.
I had 4 days to get out here. I stayed with a friend of a friend of a friend. I had never flown by myself. I had never rented a car, which, fun fact, if you're under the age of 25, you cannot rent a 4-door sedan.
That's correct.
But you can rent a U-Haul semi.
That's correct.
That doesn't make any sense.
Welcome to America.
I hate it. But yeah, so that is that.
Was it, I imagine you were one of the most, not because it's you, but you were one of the most hated people on set, being the COVID monitor?
Yeah, everyone hated us, and it was really hard to make friends on that set.
Were you the one that had to run around and say, hey, put your mask on?
Constantly.
Man.
On Winning Time, Jonah Hill, he directed the first couple episodes, I think, of that HBO series, and he was terrible at wearing his mask. And I'm a fan, so
Was this big Jonah Hill or small Jonah Hill?
This is really tan, like he's one of those Florida old men who has like leather skin, like that Jonah Hill, like surfer.
No, but like size-wise.
Whatever he's now, like in the middle, like where he's like little, I don't know.
Because like
I personally prefer fat Jonah Hill. I think
he seems like a nicer guy, but also I was just curious because I imagine being a bigger person, it's harder to keep that mask on.
Yeah.
Like you're already struggling to breathe.
No, he's just a kind of, you know what, I still think he's awesome, but he was kind of a dick on set. He would constantly, maybe it's not.
Take his mask off?
Well, that, but I mean, I tried not to care as much because I was like, I want to be friends with these people and get off of being a COVID PA because I wanted to be an actual PA. Oh, do we have one of those little tool things? I fucked up.
I don't.
Okay, well, that's not good.
I mean, this is part of the fun.
There's no nails, but yeah, I wanted to make friends, and I was really trying to be a PA.
And you thought COVID PA was the best place for that?
Well, I didn't know. I needed a job no matter what. When I was living at home in 2020, I was like, no matter what I do, I'm gonna move out to LA in January. I don't care if I don't have a job or not. I'm gonna work at home, and then I'm just gonna move and figure it out then, because I can't. This is dramatic, but I was like, if I stay on this couch any longer, I won't be alive. Because it's depressing.
It was bad. I mean,
Can you? I know you. Are you allowed to help? Can you help me get that piece off?
Yeah, no. I mean, look, I fucking moved to California too. COVID was like my job. I didn't love what I was doing at my job anymore, but also everything became monotonous.
Yeah.
It was too much. Everything was the same, and you were still living at home, so I imagine that's more annoying. But
and like, I love my mom, and I love my parents and stuff, but like living there, especially like after, I mean, I didn't get an actual graduation.
Oh, you were one of those people that missed graduation?
My boyfriend dumped me over Zoom as well.
That's respectable.
I literally was like, I'm like, this, if I don't get out of this place right now.
You were in a pandemic. I mean,
yeah,
if he had dumped you over Zoom when there wasn't a pandemic, that's
I mean,
not great.
It's funny now, but it also, it taught me, hey, if you're going to break up with somebody,
do it in person.
Yeah, do it in person.
Or
don't be a
during a
coward.
pandemic.
Yeah, don't be a coward. Do it in person.
Do it during a pandemic.
Yeah.
I think people are going through a lot during a pandemic, and breaking up with someone is a good idea.
When it was initially happening, I was like, I don't know what's happening, and then my brother was super weird about it, so I became weird about it because I was like, well, if I want to hang out with him, I have to be careful. But I was also working at Planet Fitness when I was home.
Yeah.
So like that, I had to be even more careful. And
Planet Fitness was open?
It was not 24 hours a day. It was 5 to 10 p.m.
My gym was closed for like 4 years after the pandemic.
No, dude, Planet Fitness.
The Russians were like breaking down the doors. They couldn't work out. They were losing their goddamn minds. My gym was crazy. They used to work out there like they were training for the Olympics.
Oh, Jesus.
There was one Russian guy that would show up and do chin-ups off the water pipe in the ceiling.
That's fantastic.
It was too much.
One of my first weeks there, Planet Fitness is known for the lunk alarm, which is where...
fuck is that?
It's where if somebody's being too loud with the weights, you hit and it goes whoop, 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 and it's like a big alarm.
Don't they also have a fucking Pizza Tuesday?
Yeah, not... Well, they obviously...
Those fucking morons. Of course they're going to keep you as a customer.
Where's this other piece?
Okay, so you host horror at the store.
Which is now called... Insert right here, John.
Yeah, it's called whatever we decide to call
right
it.
Here.
We should just move our lips. Now you're hosting...
Yeah, it's a good show.
Yeah, it's a great title. When did you first get into horror? Was Scream the first horror movie you saw?
No.
That's one of your favorites.
Scream is obviously it's one of my favorites. But I would say the horror loving. I've always been a fan of like darker stuff. I don't know when my first horror movie was, but like I said, I loved Scooby-Doo. I watched the cartoons when I was little, and I think those are a good, like, leeway into horror. Yeah. And, like, for Halloween, I'd be, like, a vampire. I was never a princess. I was never a fairy. I was always, like, a witch. Sometimes I was, like, just goth, and I just was always, like, dark things. And I don't know where it came from, because no one in my family likes any of that stuff. So... but I think also the Goosebumps series.
Okay.
But I don't want to say the original. I think there was a spin-off that they did in the 2000s. And there was one episode specifically that was about like a doll, where the doll turned into the girl and the girl turned into the doll. And it was just, I don't know, that one creeped me out. But yeah, I think the first actual horror movie I watched was The Orphan. And that was the one.
Orphan or The Orphan?
The Orphan. And I was terrified.
I don't even know what that is.
It's about a girl who she gets adopted.
No, that's Orphan.
Or Orphan, yeah, that's what I'm.
Yeah, that one was.
I don't even know what it's
definitely
called.
Bizarre. Yeah, Orphan, where the girl is like 30 something. And
Yeah.
she gets adopted by the family.
Oh damn! What the fuck? No.
Yeah, I think Goosebumps was definitely something that got me in the early 90s when I was just reading the books, and like we always had to have the books the day they came out, and we would have like the Scholastic Book Fair.
Yes, those were great.
We would get Goosebumps was huge for me growing up, and then things like Scream as I got older. I guess Scream came out I was 10. It's easy to say, well, we don't want the horror genre in a comedy world.
They have such a crossover, and
Yeah.
they need each other so much. There's so much, like, even the scariest horror movies have those funny moments that even if it's not like a ha-ha, oh my God, that's like a side-aching laugh, that is like, it's like a ha-ha, oh God. And
But also...
they need those releases.
It's the same argument, obviously meritocracy, I use that word a lot, but it's not... It's different in wrestling and comedy, but with horror and comedy, it's feelings. It's like the same way if something's funny, you're going to laugh and it's out of your control. Same thing with horror. If it's scary, you're going to jump.
Yeah.
And that is complete. Like I've seen, I don't get scared easily, but the movies that do scare me, if I've seen them 1,000 times, there is still certain parts that will scare me.
Yeah, I just saw Talk to Me for the second time, which I think you need to see it a couple times.
What's it about?
It's about a group of, it's like bodies, but not as Gen Z.
Not as white.
Not as, oh my God, tee-hee-hee, what, word up, fam? It's not like that. It's more like normal people, just high schoolers. But they have these parties where there's this like hand, and you say, talk to me, and then you see someone who's dead, and then you go, I let you in. Then they like possess your body for 90 seconds. If you go over 90, then they want to stay. And it's so well done. It's so fun. But there's two specific moments where I knew they were coming the second time, and I still like jumped. And I was like, wow, I knew they were coming and it still got me. That's impressive.
Yeah, and that's the thing with horror. It's like it's a feeling that even if you know it's coming, it'll scare you. Same thing with Jaws. Like there are just those movies that can do that. And same thing with comedy. Granted, it's a little bit different listening to stand-up, but if you're in a room with a lot of people and you're listening to a comic, even if you've heard the joke before and you think it's funny, you're going to laugh.
Yeah. It's also like when I would see Anthony Jeselnik, I would see him at Supernova or whatever, and I'd see his set, and he'd be doing the same set, and I would still go and see him, and I would know the jokes, but it was so interesting to like see the different reactions and to still know the punchline, but to see the audience get it at like, I love.
Well, that's all. Yeah, that's also the fun of seeing something more than once, because you get to watch other people's reactions at parts that you knew got you.
Which is why I make people watch Hereditary.
Oh God.
So that I can film them at the moment that, well.
Yeah, well, that's how I feel about the Human Centipede. Yeah, you have to go over to her channel. I don't know if it's live yet. It's probably live.
It'll be live,
we just did an interview. We just covered the last 2 Human Centipede movies, and she loved them. A little too much, if you ask me.
I almost threw up. That's fine. I'm fine.
I liked it a little bit too much. It was a little bit concerning.
I was like, these movies, they got some ideas.
They do.
Got some great ideas.
What's the worst horror movie you've ever seen?
Oh God. Honestly, the one that I just covered, Truth or Dare.
That was pretty bad.
That was one of the that one specifically because look, I've seen Troll 2. I love actually bad horror movies, but I paid money to see Truth or Dare in the theaters, and I've never wanted to walk out of a movie.
Really?
And I almost did. But I was like, no, just stay. You paid for it, just stay. But I wish I didn't.
I've been there a lot. You want to leave, and you're like, I've already gone through all the trouble of getting here. Let me just see it through. And you know very clearly it's not going to get better.
Oh, for sure. It got worse somehow.
Yeah, somehow.
I didn't know that it could or how it could.
Yeah, it's horror movies are really just a coin toss. They're either really good or really bad.
Yeah, which I love Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I love like I said, Troll 2. That's one of my favorite horror movies. And it's terrible. It's considered one of the worst movies ever made. But
that's fair.
It is so they're like, it's the worst movie ever made. I'm like, The Room is so bad. And I can't even, everyone's like,
oh, yeah.
Yeah,
we're talking something completely different.
I know, but people,
The Room is something that will never be duplicated.
I hope not. If anybody has respect for themselves, don't. But then again, also tell me why so, be on the podcast.
Yeah. Now that he sees this, he won't.
I don't think we met him, or I met him at Comic-Con, and I got his info.
Wait, we didn't see him.
I met him. You didn't.
No.
Because I went back for another day because there was a horror panel.
And you sent me the picture.
And I was like, holy shit. And I got a signed. I was like, okay, this can't be Tommy, right? I walked over and I was like, oh, how much for like a DVD? And they're like, oh, a DVD's 10, a Blu-ray's 15.
$1,000.
I was like, oh, 15? I was like, oh, how much for Tommy to sign it? He goes, oh, he'll do it for free and take a picture. And I was like, hell yeah, let's go. So now I just have a signed copy of The Room. It's so good. And then I was him.
Kind of amazing.
It's so good. And then I was him for a part at a costume party.
Yeah, that's how you know that you have a very specific group of friends. You were invited to an
A24. It was so random, but I was like, I want to be Tommy Wiseau.
An A24 party. That's where we're at in this world.
Like, good God.
A24 party.
Also, I was the only one to go hard. Everyone else did like half-ass. I think I put this on backwards.
All right, what's going on with this guy?
I don't know. Everything's falling apart. Okay, here we go.
Okay, we got the skeleton.
Let's go,
in
kids.
there.
Let's
We're
go.
getting the second floor done. We're moving over here.
I gotta go back.
Let's talk speech impediments because we both have one.
Hell yeah.
So you have a stutter that I think is fake.
I'm faking
A lot
it.
of people have agreed that it's
And
fake.
you have a lisp that's definitely faking.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a fake lisp.
Oh yeah.
My real one. I'm gonna have to do speech impediment.
My real one is super big.
Super big.
Super de duper.
It's super bad.
It's super bad.
Yeah. So you have a stutter. I have a lisp.
Mm-hmm.
When did you said you got yours from bullying?
Yeah.
Is that what you
So
told me?
my second and third grade teacher, I was in a combined 2-3 class. I can say your name. Miss Ross.
Oof.
I know. No,
Allegedly.
no, people were
We're
saying
not getting sued here.
that if I ever made, or when I make my first stand-up special, if I do, who knows what happens, but that I should name it Thanks, Miss Ross, which I think would be perfect. But basically, I was in a combined 2-3 class, so she was teaching.
What does that mean?
She's teaching 2 grades in one classroom.
Okay.
And she would basically just shut me down constantly, and like the classroom parents were like, yeah, something's like off. Katie she started off as this like, loud kid and, loud, kind kid. And now she's like not talking or raising her hand or doing anything.
Okay.
And it wasn't until, honestly, a year ago when my roommate, she was like, oh, there's actually a study that was done in the 80s. Is it 80s? I think 80s. The 1900s, if you will. That, oh my God, I can't get this. That this orphanage, this psychologist was bored, so she started bullying half the kids and shutting them down and praising the other ones, and half of them developed speech impediments, and the other half didn't. And people were like, you were bullied into a speech impediment? I don't believe that. And then seeing that for the first time, I was like, oh no, I'm right. Okay, no, this actually happened.
Yeah, well, it's definitely a weird thing to hear. Like, there's definitely things that are easy to understand being bullied into. It's interesting to hear being bullied into a speech impediment.
Yeah. I can't get this piece off. We need that thing. You didn't bring one? A little thing? Yeah. And I know how silly it sounds. And
no, it's not that it sounds silly.
Oh, but I mean, it is. It's just like,
about.
Yeah, you're like, oh, fucking hell. Can you help? Please.
What do you need?
Just the separated. I wish we had a thing. It would help. It is what it is, but I had my first speech therapist in the 5th grade, and she was the only one that treated me well. The rest of them basically were like, you're never going to amount to anything.
That's exactly what my college career person told me. And you need to go take a speech class because no one's going to take you seriously with a list.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm not. I quit so many times, and I went back, I think, maybe twice because there was this one in high school I tried to do theater, and there's this one, the first time I auditioned, freshman year, Thoroughly Modern Millie, we got up there, we're all on stage, and he goes, what's your name? And I literally couldn't spit anything out, and he thought it was stage fright. And I'm like, no, I can't say my fucking name.
That was the most fascinating thing when you first told me you had a speech impediment, was that you're hosting a podcast where you have to introduce yourself.
Every time. Well, also, I don't have to introduce myself every time, but I choose to because I like to live.
And sometimes it happened and sometimes it didn't.
Yeah.
That's why I could understand people thinking you're faking it.
It's weird. I think with the podcast, and this also happened with theater and stuff, and why I was like, hey, just someone give me a chance. Because once I have the line down, I don't stutter. Unless it's the word listen. I will always stutter on that no matter what.
And that just sounded fake.
Yeah, exactly, because I'm faking it. But yeah, the director for all the theater stuff, he never cast me in anything because of my speech impediment. So I ended up doing crew and was doing all of the sets and stuff. And then I did community theater, and that's where I started to find my voice. Yeah. And it wasn't until when I got to college and I started doing Second City in Chicago and all that stuff that I became confident in honestly, I think it's when I did my first stand-up set. It was a 10-minute set about my stutter. And I was like, wow, I can take back the power of all the people who made fun of me growing up. And if I make fun of myself first. Yeah. I've only met a handful of people who actually have a stutter as well. I just, they're hard to find. They also don't talk about it.
But we keep them locked up.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, you should. But we all have tricks on how we get away from stuff. A lot of my stuff is breathing. So you hear me go, like I take weird breaths. I just did it again here and there, or I will avoid a word. So if I want to say, oh, I want this soda, which is a root beer, I'll be like, can I have the beer of the root?
Yeah.
So I just switch it.
Well, you do that with Facebook. You do that with ketchup. They're like those words that you just do it.
Yeah.
And you love ketchup. So
I go.
It's a struggle.
I go the tomato condiment. It's
Yeah.
also things that I love. This is also one of my jokes is if I don't stutter on your name, you don't mean shit to me.
Oof.
That's
A lot of people think I'm joking when I say I have a list of people that I'll probably never I'm predicting I will never hear from again once I stop working here.
which is just so sad. Like it's just
It is, but
And-
I also prepared myself for it.
it's also
because-
the same as like being on set because that's you make all these like you think they're going to be lifelong friends because you eat lunch together every day, you spend so many hours with these people and then it just goes to
Well, I think everybody has their own agenda, and
Yeah.
you either fit into it or you don't. And when you fit into it, it's because you're able to help them with something, and then you hit that point where you don't fit into it anymore. And in my opinion, that's fine. It's shitty if you think that you're friends with the person and it happens, but at the same time, like it's out of my control. This person's going to be how this person's going to be.
yeah.
I'm just going to. It's my job to deal with it now.
Yeah. Honestly, that also fuels my fire because a lot of, just people in general where I'm like, okay, you know what, I'm sad about this or like I lost this job or whatever, but I'm like, you know what, these people are, they're not gonna be here and they're gonna be, one day you're gonna be in charge of them and
Yeah.
that's like those things. Honestly, I don't want to say the pettiness of it, but the pettiness of it fuels my fire.
It's the pettiness of it because especially when you see there's writing on the wall, like the situation we're dealing with now, we're dealing with old industry.
Yeah.
That's gone. That's going to be over. And you're going to, like, the only jobs available is these people are going to be working for people younger than them that they were not good to
Yeah.
when they had those opportunities.
Oh yeah. It's
And that's what, like, we've had this conversation before, and like I appreciate that, like, you tell me I'm one of your best bosses and I always treat you like
which
I will never have-
it's terrible because it shouldn't. I'm thankful that you're a good boss, but like that the fact that it's taken this long.
well, you're 25. It hasn't taken that long. Calm down.
I've had so many.
You've been in the workforce for 3 years.
No, but in those 3 years, I've had 10 jobs, so maybe more. So like I've had maybe the nastiest people, especially in the past 2 years. Like I worked for.
You're working in comedy.
Well, I worked for comedy, but then I worked for these two directors that, you ready for this?
Oh boy.
Herbie Fully Loaded.
That's what they directed?
That's what they were.
And they're mean to people?
They were monsters. I quit. I was like, oh no, I gotta go be with my family. Somebody's dying, which is a theme apparently.
Yeah, you've lied to us
God.
about that before.
I didn't mean to lie. That was
You
that was
lied.
an accident.
And you forgot someone's name. This is the sickness I'm dealing with next to me. She forgot somebody's name, and rather than like text me over there or run out quick, just be like, I have to use the bathroom. She said that
I panicked.
there was a death in her family, and she ran out. And we were concerned.
I panicked, and he's like, "You were crying." I was not crying.
You were definitely crying.
I was not. I was not. I did not kill her.
You were absolutely crying.
I was not.
It was like mind-blowing to find out that was a lie.
I was waiting to tell you for a while. It's so
No, you were.
funny.
It came out by accident.
Oh, man, it's so funny. Wait, what the fuck did I do? What did I do? I'm just going to keep going. But, no, yeah. I don't know why I did that. Even after it happened, I was like, why did you... You could have said so many other
That's
things.
some psychopath.
It's not
That's like
it's not my
legit
brightest
psychopath
moment, but also so funny.
I mean, that's
So
debatable.
funny.
And the only reason that like the only reason I thought that it was something was off was because you also just did that at a convention we were at.
My
I was
grandpa
like, how
actually
people are
died.
dying
So,
while she's in the middle of stuff.
I have a lot of old family members, but my grandpa died while we were at Comic-Con. I got the call. I like to say it was in front of the anime porn section, and that my World War II grandpa was rolling in his grave. But he, yeah. Hey, that.
Yeah, no. So prior to her lying, she actually did lose a family member, and I'm
Correct.
starting to think she just liked the attention she got from that.
I love it. I live for the attention. I live for it. I'm an attention-seeking whore. It's my passion. That's why it's called Horror at the Store.
Horror at the store.
Horror at the Store.
What is going on here? What's your dream job?
I would like to. It's honestly changed constantly, but the goal in my life is to have a star on the Walk of Fame next to Gilda Radner or Chris Farley. How I get there, I don't know. I want to act, I want to direct, I want to do comedy. I've kind of said I want to be the Judd, the mix of Judd Apatow and Wes Craven, which is an odd mix, but that is also perfect for me. So
Okay.
that's what I would like to do.
It seems like there's at least a vision.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But
That the accolade went before the actual work. That's
yeah,
very
but
LA.
thank you so much. But I've always had a thing for Gilda, so I think she's pretty cool.
Okay, so stand up. At what point did you decide you wanted to do stand up?
So I took a stand-up class. I think it was 2019 at Second City. I had just been taking, I finished the improv program I did, sketched there, had several 6-month runs or whatever, and then was like, you know what, I've never done a stand-up class, let's just do it. And it was really fun. Everyone was like, wow, you're you're funny, you got a good wit. And then I did the showcase, and then I didn't do anything till I got out here because I didn't know in Chicago where to go. I didn't know the open mic scene. And then I got out here and I quit PAing because I was like, I want to do stand-up and I want to do comedy, and you can't do both because PAing takes up so much goddamn time. So I was like,
Yeah, but it also pays bills.
it
Barely,
does.
yeah.
But, I was like, I'd rather be poor and doing what I love than be
That's brave.
miserable. Yeah, that is the LA thing. I'm so brave. I'm so brave.
You're so brave.
I'm so freaking brave, bro.
You're gonna be poor, but you're gonna do comedy.
Never been done before.
so
Never will
brave.
be done again.
So brave.
So brave. But yeah, so.
Yeah, the comedy classes get a bad rap. I forgot who I was talking to about this, but I didn't know anything.
JMS.
Yeah. Well, JMS, I think Christina Hutchinson also.
Oh, yeah.
I just didn't know anything about stand-up.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just show up and say, put me on stage.
I also I feel like the classes have given me a little bit of a leg up because I know how to write a joke. I know, from these writers, I'm like, I've watched stand-up my whole life. I've watched all this stuff, but to see okay, this is how you actually do it, it's not just watching it, I think was really helpful for my brain. And even now I'll probably have finished my class that I just started. This will be my 4th stand-up class, but every couple of years I like to just take a new one, because why not?
Yeah, that makes sense. I never wanted to do stand-up, but I ended up doing it. But it's you need to do it.
Yeah.
You there are people that just have to do stand-up. There are people that, especially I'm realizing that at the Comedy Store specifically, but there are people that no matter what they just want to be famous.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mention names, but there are
but
people
also.
who just want to. Well, there are people. Well, I think you might fall into that.
That's okay. And I want to I want to work for it. I'm still figuring out because I like so many things.
Yeah.
I know if I focus my energy, that's also why I stopped like doing more acting stuff because I felt like stand-up was helping me project more to where I wanted to go than acting was. So I was like, okay, well, let's take a break from acting. Let's, put all my energy towards stand-up.
Yeah, and I guess my thought is you're at least at the age where you have to make that decision.
Yeah.
Or can make that decision. And a lot of the people I see around here are at the point where they just want to be actors and they're using stand-up to get there. And as soon as, like, they're not even trying to be pure stand-ups, as soon as they get that role that they're looking for, they're out.
Okay.
We're almost done, so.
I got it.
We'll see where you got.
I'm crushing it. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I screwed something up.
But, I've always enjoyed making people laugh.
Who's your favorite comic?
Daniel Tosh.
He's like the last big name to come from Comedy Central.
Yeah.
I'm a big Daniel Tosh fan.
I
think that Tosh is great.
He's so fucking funny. But I think his humor is so good. Just the way he pushes boundaries and he keeps going. And then to the point where everyone's confused and then he brings it back. I think that's awesome. But George Carlin, Anthony, he's great.
Yeah.
Sarah Silverman, she's also one that I really love. But.
We're wrapping up. If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
I have two things. Okay. I actually thought about this because I was like, I want to be on the spot. The first one is not to have scoliosis.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Continue.
It's a lot of pain, and I feel like I have the pain of a 50-year-old, and I am 25. So when I am 50, it's going to be really bad.
Okay.
So that, I'm in pain constantly. So that's good, especially when I'm editing and I'm hunched over like this. It's great. And then the second thing, I would love to not have anxiety. Like
that's a good one.
Both social and not, I think. Especially, I've noticed in the past couple weeks, I don't know why it's taking me almost 8 months to get okay with more people, but it's taken me a while, and I wish it did, and I wish I could have just gone in and just been okay with everything.
But it's also especially here, these are your peers, so it's a lot different.
Yeah.
It's like jumping into a new workplace where you don't feel like you're there yet, where you're supposed to feel comfortable.
Yeah, we are also basement dwellers.
We are the basement dwellers.
And it is just us, so it's not like
us against the world.
Literally.
And the world won. All right, that's a wrap. Let's see where you got. Okay, not bad. You've got the outline going.
Yeah. Got it, please do.
Okay.
Little ghost dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got the second floor done, and I got the doors. And we still have the light going on here.
Ooh,
it's
that's
very
so cool.
detailed in there.
That's so freaking cool.
We got the vacuum.
Yes.
That Mary flies on.
I think I did pretty well compared to other people. I mean,
okay. Well, you guys will see some of these episodes. Yes, sure. Compared to
what did I say? What did I say? I was gonna crush it, and you're like, no, you're not, and I freaking did.
You have more on the table than you have in the set. You have more.
I'm not done. There's still a whole other side.
In the 45 minutes. I mean, you did better than I expected. I'll say that.
Oh no.
Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at KTHETTY. That's KT Hetty. You can find me also for my podcast, which is a horror movie review podcast, which is called Insert It Right Here. There it is. You can follow that on YouTube. Smash that like and subscribe button.
Smash it.
Smash it.
Follow me at Say It Ain't Sosis. We have a great second season. We're probably only a few episodes in because we're in October. I don't know when this is launching. But follow me at Say It Ain't Sosis, Building Friendships series on Instagram. And that's it. We'll see you next time.
Bye.